What's happening, YouTube? Anthony on Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film with a brand new PRLostGalaxy2014 review. And today we're taking a look at Hasbro's Marvel Legends Hawkeye TV series Ronin figure. Apparently, Hawkeye as Ronin has appeared in Avengers Endgame. Now, I don't know why it's under the Hawkeye logo when it should have been Avengers Endgame. I mean, unless if in the Hawkeye TV series, Hawkeye, Clint Barton had donned the Ronin persona a little bit somewhere in like the first episode or something. I don't know. I didn't even watch Hawkeye, but I can tell that they had the package Ronin from Endgame in something related to the Hawkeye TV show, which I don't even recall him even having the suit in the show. But I know for a fact that, for those who've seen Avengers Endgame, Hawkeye had donned this Ronin persona thing. And I mean, yeah, it's a cool suit, cool ninja, outfit, that he had going on when, how things went down with the Avengers since the events of Captain America Civil War. And then how, like, Clint was on house arrest and stuff, and so did Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man. And then when things got disastrous due to Thanos' snap, and then 5 years later, the time jump between 5 years between Thanos' snap to 2023 in that timeline of all the things and events. Then we see Clint again donning the Ronin costume, and he's not, he has like the bow and arrow as Hawkeye usually. But I mean, again, Hawkeye is a very underrated character in the Marvel universe, and even by MCU standards, he was definitely a very underrated character. Nothing against him. I like his actor Jeremy Renner and all. He was just such an underrated character in the MCU, and he was up there with like Natasha Romanoff in in the Infinity Saga. And I do have now I have a few toys related to that saga, basically my favorite part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm happy to own an action figure of one of my favorite outfits of Hawkeye, because that suit, even by Avengers Endgame standards, it was damn fucking awesome, because I'm a sucker for ninja suits with black and gold and all. So here's the front of the package of what it looks like, plastic free packaging, because again, this was one of those MCU Marvel Legends figures of 2024 or so, where we had plastic free packaging. And yeah, it's a pain in a sucker. Like, if the figure didn't come out very well, then what do we expect? So front of the package, then you got a digital render of the figure on this side, and some and also control art of the figure on this side. And then you also have an image of, I'm black and white, of Hawkeye, if you can get it. So he does come with a crossbow, like, his bow and arrow, just as usual with his Hawkeye, but then he has the Ronin thing with the katana swords, and then an alternate head where you have a mask and unmasked, and we'll take a look at all of those. So without further ado, let's take a look at Hawkeye / Ronin. Okay, everybody, now that Hawkeye Ronin, but still is out of the package, let's go over all his accessories. He doesn't come with any interchangeable hands, but we have something totally different. So you got the sword, the holster to put his swords in, which you can also have. So we're going to put that, attach that right now. So that way we can, have them all geared up, ready to fight, ready to go. And just also got to make sure it's, I think I didn't put it on right. I think you got to put it on this way in order to, I don't know what I'm doing here, but okay. So put it somewhere, so make sure it's in, that little port is in the hole to buckle up the sword holster. I wish they didn't make it so far up, unless I'm putting it on wrong a little bit, but we'll come back to that. Now, let's take a look at his katana sword. So his katana swords is a, matte finish plastic with the silver on the blades, and the handles of the swords, but one small katana sword, and then you got the long one. They're actually well done, and I actually really like and you can get some detail done on the swords a little bit too, if you can see a little bit of it. And then on this sword too. So there you go with those. Let's see how he looks with both those swords in hand. See how that looks. Yeah, I know the grips on the hands are not so spread open right now. And then here's both these swords. I mean, again, also when I look at this Ronin outfit, even though for Marvel standards, The suit just looks like something you would expect in like G.I. Joe. And actually, it kind of does when you think about it, because, you know, we've had, there was once in a G.I. Joe movie toy line where we had some, you know, Cobra Ninja that had an outfit that was very akin to Ronin's outfit a little bit. And so you have Hawkeye, aka Ronin, you know, with his, you know, katana swords in hand, one small, one big. So, yeah, I'm still trying to get this thing on, you know, strapped on and stuff, right? And so there you go with the swords. And yes, you have then his bow. I wish it came with an arrow piece, but unfortunately, here's his arch arrow. And yeah, the string is plastic and not, you know, string, you know, like regular stringing. And so here's what the bow looks like for the figure. So that's good. Then this is the hood piece when, you know, Hawkeye would put the hood down when he's not wearing the hood, when he doesn't need the hood on right now. So let's put that piece on. So how you're going to put that? You're going to put that hood piece on the back of him. And there you go. So that's the hood right here on the back. And, you know, the closed, you know, the closed hood. And then here's his hood and mask head, which is a little loose, but we'll put that hood on later. So here is Ronin's head, and I really like the way how it looks. And you can also get some detail on the eyes and stuff there too, and those eyebrows one underneath the mask. Because also, not only he looks like one of those Cobra Ninjas from G.I. Joe, but he can come off a bit like, you know, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. So I can't believe Marvel is trying to rip off Scorpion from Mortal Kombat with this design right here for something. I don't know. But that's just the way how I look at it sometimes. And even though, again, it's a cool suit for, you know, Hawkeye, but I just didn't expect that they would get some influence from that. But it just looks like, again, if they were trying to call back Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. And now let's take a look at the figure, and even though I'm going to deal with the strap a little bit later. So here's Hawkeye and, you know, unmasked. And I do like the detail done on the figure, the wrinkle on the jacket and everything, the hood. I thought I put the hood on the right way, but hold on. Again, I'm just not used to having figures where I have to do all of these, putting all these multiple pieces on together. But this is the first time having one of these kind of Marvel figures to do so. And it's really darn cool because, man, it's just like, you know, not only I have Ronin from Endgame, but I also have, you know, an Iron Man from Endgame and a Captain America from Endgame, which were peg warmers that I keep seeing at Walmart, and, you know, my Walmarts and Targets stores. And I'm like, okay, because again, when I get around those figures, I'm going to take a look at how they stack right there. So I think they did a great job on this figure, no doubt, but though it's not by any means perfect, though, because as I go through some articulation, detailing and critiques, so like for instance, elbow crunch, you got the elbow crunch is pretty darn good on this one, and then on this arm too. So at least the problems are not present on the arms as much, I guess, say for when trying to lift the shoulder, you know, lift the arms up by the shoulders. The head you can turn around, but not all the way around. But you can turn left and right. You can't really, you know, do much fully tilting the head up and down, since that's a little lifted, you know, restricted, and knowing the neck to the figure is a bit short. You unfortunately can't possibly do much articulating on the abdomen crunch on this figure, because given the jacket, so you're just going to bend him up and down, left and right like this. But you can turn the waist around, turning the entire waistline of his legs around, and that's about it. So you can't really do any type of abdomen crunching on this figure, unfortunately, this time. But you can do some knee crunching. Now the knee crunching is a bit stiff on this leg, on both legs, but I just got to keep bending them so I can get the knee crunching well, so that way I won't have any problems later on. But I've also noticed that his right leg is getting a little bent now since I got him out of the package, because I don't really understand why, for Hasbro, yet again still complaining about it, that they started doing plastic free packaging figures in 2022 2023, And no wonder that's why I took a hiatus from toy collecting during that time, because especially for Hasbro collecting, that they started doing that. And that is not good for their business. And no wonder that's why Hasbro had been in some really bad stances with their new CEO at the moment. And especially the way how they're making the toys. And that still ain't good. So yeah, now both the legs are getting a little messed up. Actually, that's more my fault than anything. Then ankle pivots. So the ankle pivots are good on both feet. So you got that. And yeah. And so that's there you go. And then if you want to take off Clint's head off, trying to get him off that peg, trying to get him off that head joint, because, you know, it's a little tough, because I hate that the Marvel Legends figures got to have some tough ball joints for the heads when I want to change heads out. I hate that. I really, really do. Okay, got the head out. And yeah, that's another problem. What's wrong with these figures, and why quality control on some of these figures haven't been all that great, which people have pointed out. As good as the figures may be on paper and in digital renderings, but sometimes they just can't be all that good. Plus, this hood can come off, and you see the head, you know, bald as it is, showing the full face mask. See how the ninja head is on the figure. Trying to get it on that ball joint, but the hole at the head is like a little big enough to put in, but this ball joint is just too darn hard and tight. What is up with that, Hasbro? God damn. Okay, let's do that again, because I don't understand why the ball joint is so tough on this figure. I don't know why. I'm scared I'm about to break that joint. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, but you know, it's just not really good. And I also noticed that now with the head on this on, it's a little tough. It's just like wobbly and stuff, and that's just not good. And here's is this on right? And here's Ronin fully covered up. And well, actually, I think I gotta take this other piece off to show this when he has the hood on. And so there you have that right there. Yeah, you can tell that this figure, I really had some serious anticipation for this figure, but now, due to some difficulties with the head and everything, the head joint, when switching the heads off, you know, the heads out, it's kind of disappointing that how this, you know, as much as I like the figure in terms of its sculpting and detailing, it's quite a disappointment that they had to go and, you know, make the figure so stiff and jointed, you know, stiff in terms of the joints and quality control. And that's what kind of did hurt this figure for me, is that they should have had never made the figure so difficult to articulate and everything. That's what sucks. No, I think that's not the way to put this. But that's what made it suck so bad for me, was that they just didn't put it on the right way, and they just or it's just me not doing something right, and why I never got it on right. I think that's what my problem was. I'm trying to put this on so I can put the sword in the back. I think I got it on. I think I got it on right. Okay, got it. With the sword holster. And so here's Ronin, and then like this, and then we put his katana sword in here for later. And then here he is with the bow and arrow in hand, if you want to see him with the bow and arrow. But again, if he had a different hand where I can hold, you know, I think you got to open up the fingers a little bit, so when you put the bow on in the hand. And so here is the bow and arrow in hand for Ronin right here. So in final thoughts, as much as I like Ronin, the suit, and I like Hawkeye, the figure was kind of a disappointment in terms of the articulation department, and well, quality control was good, but what disappointed me was the articulation on the figure, and I think that's what weighed the figure down a little bit, in my opinion. But I think it's worth something to have for diehard MCU collectors, and as an MCU fan myself. But the figure was kind of a disappointment, mainly for the articulation. Paint apps is good and everything, but what's disappointing is that, you know, in terms of like the The ball joint on the head was a bit hard and, you know, difficult to switch out the Clint Barton head for the Ronin head, and then trying to put that stash on. I mean, it just made it a very difficult figure to review for me today. And again, this is the first time in a long time I actually had some difficulty with some reviews on anything I did review for, you know, toys and whatnot. So with that being said, this was an okay figure. I mean, I can see why Hawkeye is not that much of a fan favorite, you know, or a very undervalued character in the MCU, but probably in like comics and so maybe, but just not in the movies. Just saying. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time.